Hello everybody. So if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you knew this video was coming. I was going to address Sora and what's going on right now in AI and what are the implications for Nvidia and Tesla. And so this is what this video is all about. But first of all, let me give you a little bit of historical context. The time is October 9, 1903, and there is this very famous New York Times article, Flying Machines Which Do Not Fly. And following a long streak of being cynical about flying machines and flight, right? They weren't really called airplanes back then. The New York Times publishes, as it's usual, its final article bashing the fact that flight will never ever happen. And the New York Times says, it will happen only if you bend the rule of physics, and you always, even if you use the rules of and the science of mathematicians and mechanicians, it will take still 1 million to 10 million years to achieve flight. That's what they were saying in October 9, 1903. And it's also provided that you eliminate little drawbacks and embarrassments, such as the existence, the relation between weight and strength in materials and things like gravity, etc., 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 and saying that we are wasting our time and you should employ our time doing things more profitably. Very famous article in Innovation here. And of course, what's so famous in this article, of course, is that it was October 9, 1903. Flying machines are never going to happen. Again, this was a streak of articles from the New York Times spanning almost 5 years of saying it will never happen. And then, of course, on December 17, 1903, you got a new article in the newspapers hitting America, Machine That Flies. The Wright brothers in Kitty Hawk have accomplished it, machine that flies. And actually, if you study that moment, back then, even in Europe, they didn't believe it. It took Europe 2 to 3 years to actually believe that it was true. And even in America, you had skeptics who never ever believed it and believed that it was possible. But of course, today, there's no denying that it happened. And so I'm making kind of a parallel. The revolutions that happened in the 1900s were very fast-paced, and people did not understand these revolutions. If you look at things like electricity, right? You had Edison trying to promote his current by using the electric chair and disparaging Tesla's current. Steel, people wouldn't want to cross bridges. Bridges made out of steel when you crossed the Mississippi River. Carnegie steel, people didn't believe it was possible for structures to be this strong, and so they had to have elephant come, and elephants had to cross the bridges. We've gone through periods of step changes, periods of crazy innovations, except none of us were alive back then. So maybe we have forgotten how to think exponentially. Maybe we've become too skeptical, and we need to accept in our minds that we are not equipped to accept the rate of change of AI and the rate of change of technology in general. Just like back in the 1900s, people were not equipped to understand it. We are not equipped to understand it. I believe so. Because obviously, this is all over the internet. I bet you've seen all of these videos, and they drop about a new video an hour, the team that works on this. They are all stunning. And quite frankly, I am not an AI expert. I don't see any issues with any of these videos. The only rare moment when I see something that's a dead giveaway that's AI in this video is when you do the hands. Sometimes the hands are weird, but it's barely visible, barely visible. This is just as good as a camera, if not better than a camera. And these are all generated by prompts. One sentence generates a minute video. That's the state of the art right now. You can generate a 1-minute video from one sentence that you put in Sora AI, from OpenAI. And of course, you've seen this all over the internet, so I just reused it. But this was 1 year ago, and this literally blew the world. 1 year ago, people were like, "Oh my gosh, we're making videos." Look at the difference between the video 1 year ago and the video today. This is not. There's no comparison. Like, it got, 100 times better. So we have another year of this. Another year of this is what you're gonna take a novel and you're going to copy and paste it, and you're going to do a few instructions, and then it's going to generate a whole movie for you. And then you likely will decide how long do you want the movie to last. Do you want it to be like a 10 episode series, or do you want to be a single movie, or do you want to be a short 10-minute film that summarizes a novel or anything like that? And by the way, you'll also be able to ask the AI to write a novel for you. We are so skeptical about these things. It moves so fast. We're not equipped to understand it. And as a proof of us not being equipped to understand how this works, you may remember 5 months ago, Hollywood was totally oblivious to this. They were striking for salaries, not noticing the big threat out there. Not noticing the big threat. I was reading stuff about Pixar, about how it would take years for Pixar to develop certain things like hair, and this AI does it in seconds. And back in the day, it took them years. And we have people striking, having fun, being like, oh yeah, we go on strike, not realizing that, not only Hollywood is changing, now you have payroll actors, like you make $5,000 a month and you just get a 9 to 5 and you act in movies, and so you don't get the $20 million ticket anymore. Not only that, but then these actors are also going away, going to be replaced by AI. It's mind-boggling. And maybe we're going to watch all the same movies, but we're going to have different actors depending on our tastes and what we like. So all I'm trying to say, following this generative AI revolution, which is whether it is text, whether it is music, whether it is videos, I'm using this as an example to tell you that in my view, there is no guarantee that Nvidia is overvalued. No guarantee at all. In fact, in my spreadsheet that I published 2 days ago, Nvidia came out as cheaper than Tesla and way cheaper than AMD. There is no guarantee at all that Nvidia, despite a 50% run from early 2024 onward, there's no guarantee at all that company is overvalued if you really, really think about it. It's very likely that AI will become as ubiquitous as electricity became. In the early days, electricity was seen as this work of magic, and then it became ubiquitous. I look at this looks like a work of magic to me, but it will become ubiquitous. And what's the company that's going to benefit from that the most? Well, it is Nvidia. Nvidia is going to benefit from that. So selling Nvidia for a profit was my biggest mistake of 2023, and you can bet that I am following that Buffett. Buffett, sometimes I like him, sometimes I don't, but you can bet that I'm following that Buffett advice that my preferred holding period is forever. Like when you own assets in this company, you're changing your family tree, you're changing your estate, you're owning something that is much, much, much more important than profits. This is not a profit. The whole idea of taking profits when you can, I want to be very careful because the stock may crash next week when we get earnings. It may crash, but guess what? It may also do a 50% up because the demand appears to be through the roof. And what if this gets 100x better a year from now? Anyways, let me move on to a company where I'm not making this mistake because I'm obviously not entering Nvidia at these levels, and that's probably another mistake, but it's psychological at this point. I don't want to pay 7 times more for a stock that I could have bought under 100 or at about 100 a year and 4 months ago. I don't want to pay 7x more, so I'm not buying Nvidia. That's not how I'm playing the AI space. I sold it. I made a mistake. My bad. Too bad. But what I'm not making a mistake is Tesla. As you know, Tesla is about 30% of my portfolio. It's my number one position. I'm so happy I was able to add leaps of Tesla at 175 when the stock was trading at like 176 or something, about 175 leaps. I'm so happy with that. Tesla, I'm buying Tesla. Why? Because let's see, there's 2 revolutions in AI going on in Tesla. One of them is Optimus. And Optimus has this very interesting pattern, which is everybody makes fun of it, just like the airplane, just like steel, just like electricity. Everybody says it's impossible. We have people striking in the manufacturing sector, thinking about their wages, saying we want 40% increase in the wage in auto manufacturing, right? Entirely oblivious to the fact that the companies are developing robots that say Figure AI, which is Optimus's main competitor, has already announced a partnership with BMW, right? And you have these strikes, so just like the writer guilds, people are oblivious to it. Look at the insane rate. September 2022, the thing didn't even work. It had to be tethered. It barely moved. October 2023, you may have seen this video, absolutely stunning video. January 2024, it's able to fold a shirt. Granted, it was remote controlled, but still, it's able to fold a shirt. Where is it at now? Where is it going to be in March, in April? This is not getting, 10% better a month. This is exponentiality right there. Optimus and Figure AI seem to both be progressing at alarming rates. And Tesla's expertise, and this is my bet in Tesla, notwithstanding the fact that you can't really invest in OpenAI because it's a startup reserved for VCs right now. But Tesla has one major advantage over Figure AI. I meant Figure AI, not OpenAI, is that Tesla's expertise is in manufacturing. I mean, they own their own manufacturing company. Manufacturing company. Construction company that builds manufacturing facility. That's like how vertically integrated Tesla is. Their expertise is in manufacturing, in mass manufacturing. So I have to believe if somebody solves it, the one company that's able to manufacture it is going to be Tesla. You also have a legacy player in the field, which is Boston Dynamics, which hasn't been able to move nearly as fast as Tesla or Figure AI. Why? Because they use hydraulics. I think it's spelled like this. They use hydraulic movements, not actuators. They use hydraulic movements, and because of that, it makes them very hard to scale, these Boston Dynamics robots, and they're also very, very dangerous. Much, much more dangerous than using actuators. And if you follow the Optimus bot, which I have, it's all about the actuators and how good your actuators are, because there's dozens of actuators in these machines. Actuators are just physical elements that you're able to move up or down, and you can mimic movement. Another thing I call your attention to these bots is, and I think this is very telling, semantics. Semantics are usually a good sign that something is going mainstream. When a concept, when a word enters the dictionary, this is something that becomes mainstream. If you follow the social media cycle, right? Not the news. Don't go on CNBC. Don't follow the news. But if you follow the social cycle, do you see this term more often? Embodied AI. Embodied AI is catching on. This term is catching on. It's all over the place. Embodied AI, embodied AI. This is body, embodied AI. AI in a body. This term is catching on right now. Just like 2 years ago, we could see terms like generative AI catching on 2 years ago. Are we on the verge of something big? I'm very happy to own that option in Tesla because this is nowhere, this is no pricing. This is not priced in whatsoever in Tesla. And speaking about one final thing that is not priced in Tesla. In my view, in Tesla, you just have the pricing in of the cars. The cars are the only thing priced in Tesla, in my view. The last thing that's not priced in Tesla, which we've been talking about forever, is FSD. Now, going back to the example about flight, they disparage the idea of flight as impossible and against the laws of physics for 5 years. In the early 1900s, late 1800s, it's impossible to fly. Okay, how many years have we been disparaging FSD in the media? A little more than 5 years, I'd say, maybe 7 or 8 years. At one point, this will be solved, and this is, I think, perhaps the irony of this all is this article that I begin the video on. Flying machines which do not fly. We need to break the laws of physics. We need 1 million to 10 million years of mathematician work to make it work. Published in 1903. That was published in the New York Times. And today, you have the New York Times publishing by way of advertising, but they review the advertising and they agree with the advertising. Otherwise, they wouldn't publish something that doesn't follow their charter and their rules. So, by way of advertising, Tesla is publishing for the Down New York Times is publishing for the Down project, is publishing things like, and if I were to title this in the old way, in the old English, self-driving machines which do not work. Right? Publishing this in the New York Times through Down's payments, i.e. advertising, right, is very similar to publishing self-driving machines which do not work. And this has been going on in all of the mainstream media for years. And I think it would be very ironic for the New York Times to yet again be involved in a publication claiming it doesn't work and then something happens a few years later. What I'll conclude with this video is that time in the market, time in a stock beats timing the market. We can't know when FSD is going to be big. We can't know when these robots are going to take on and are going to be big. I believe both of these are going to happen. We just don't know if it's 10 years or 1 year from now. We can't know. And because we can't know this, the key, in my view, is I want to own the stock before it happens. I want to be in the stock before it pops. That's why I explained in this video why I buy before they pop. Buy before the stock goes up. That's my view, right? No financial advice, of course. So we don't know when FSD will happen. But I want to be on the train before it happens, because the day FSD or the day AI, embodied AI, becomes a major thing, Tesla will go parabolic, just like Nvidia. Except I'll be in that stock. And it's 30% of a portfolio, and I'm so happy to own it. So this was no financial advice. This is no investment advice. This is just entertainment. I hope you liked the video, hoping you were entertained. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.